everybody, this is Rajeshree from Soul Tuning, and it is day 39 of my 90-day transformation in the raw, and I'm starting to hone in a little bit more, and that's what I want to talk about today is the level of watching your mind and that inner voice. So responsibility versus respect, or responsibility versus disrespect, and responsibility and respect, how to respect yourself and how to decipher the voices and know who's speaking, right? And this sounds kind of psychotic, but we all have voices in our head. Don't tell me you don't. And so I've been watching my mind lately and really tuning in to try to decipher when I should get up and do something and when it is okay to relax, right? So it's very important because we can really stress ourselves out depending on what voice we're listening to, or we can really drain our prana if we have resistance towards responsibility, responding to a certain situation, getting up when we know we should be doing certain things. That's the flow. That's the energy. So, for an example is when you feel that inspiration, you want to get up and do something, or you think you should. It's probably time to get off the couch and motivate and do something. And you hear that voice that says, and it's supportive. Sometimes it can be an assertive, but you hear that voice that says, you should probably move forward and get this done. And then there's the other voice that comes in, and it has more of a condescending tone. More of a condescending tone. And that voice can say something like, you're not, maybe you shouldn't get up and go and sing, or maybe you shouldn't do the artwork. Because you're not as good as the other person or whatever, right? So the voice that deflates, the voice that keeps you on the couch, the voice that feeds the story about yourself that you've chosen to believe at some point, those are the two different voices I'm talking about. And I want to talk about something that happened to me several years ago. And this is when I really discovered this thing around respect and responsibility. And talking about respect for a moment. So I was cleaning out my house and I was downsizing, and I had this craft closet. And I started looking at all the crafts in the closet, and 90% of them, projects, crafts, whatever, 90% of them I hadn't touched in several months. But the energy around them, and it was there when I went to grab and process if I should get rid of it or not, the story that I had placed on them was that, no, I really want to someday, and I really want to proceed with that craft, or I really want to sketchbook someday, or I'm going to hang on to that because I'm going to do that in a couple months. Well, there's a moment that stopped me when I went to try to go get rid of all the crafts, and a voice that came through, and it was basically saying, as if your future self couldn't decide for itself what it wanted to do and what it was inspired to do in that present moment. And it just hit me. I was like, whoa, I'm disrespecting my future self and not allowing my future self, right, the me in the future, because that's what I was talking about. I was futurizing, to decide whether it wanted to or not do crafts. So my present self wasn't doing it. My present self wasn't inspired to do scrapbooking. My present self was occupied and wanting to do other things. So that's it. It's one thing if you have seasonal stuff hanging out, like camping gear and stuff. But that's not what we were talking about here. Crafts, whatever projects I could do year round. And there was some have not in there too, some thinking of, oh, but I don't want to have to go and pay for it all over again. Money comes and goes, and I've always been okay. Most of us have always been okay. We've always found a way, and things and money are meant to flow in and out of our life, right? Again, unless it's seasonal or keepsakes, you know, there's some exceptions. Even with those, you got to check your thinking around them. But so that was really important. And I'm talking about that because anytime we're thinking about our future self, we're disrespecting our present self. And anytime we're getting down on our present self, we're disrespecting our past self. And we're disrespecting our past self because our past self did the best that it could in that situation where it was to make the choices that it made that led us to our present self. And it's important to have compassion. So if you find yourself in the past, if you find yourself in the future, you are not in the present, because in the present moment, there is compassion, there is responsibility, and there is respect for all. For the present self, you cannot have respect for the present self or compassion for the present self and not have it for the future and the past self, right? So it was a big, back then, it was a big wow, and it's been coming up again for me recently. And also responsibility. Your past self made certain choices that you are now witnessing and experiencing the effects of. So when we are not in the present moment, we are disconnected from the reality that our past self made these choices that led us to the present moment. And so if we find ourselves in a victim consciousness, as if things are happening to us, we are not taking responsibility for the past self. And if we find that we're futurizing into the future, thinking about the future, and putting a lot on the future, or fear is usually all about the future, false evidence appearing real and about the future, then we're not taking responsibility for our present self and what we're creating right now, because we are creating that future in the present moment. So if hopefully you're catching my drift here, but the present holds compassion, respect, and responsibility for all. So in the present moment, you should be focusing on your mind, what you're thinking, how you're reacting, what you're creating, how you're responding to what is happening in front of your face right now. Because how you respond to what's happening in front of your face, how you respond to others and speak to them, how you react or don't react, respond to your thoughts and feelings is creating your future. And it's either having compassion or disrespect for your past self and your present self and your future self. It's all happening at once. But it helped me to break it down in that sense when I heard that voice, that as if your future self can decide for itself what it wanted to do, what it was inspired to do. And it was a relief, because it allowed me to come back to the present moment and be like, well, of course, what am I inspired to do right now? I had a clean slate. I wasn't carrying things or thoughts or anything. I wasn't carrying this idea from the past, and I wasn't carrying this stuff from the future. I was freed up and was able to have a clean slate as to, well, what do I want to do now? Like, all right, cool. I don't have to worry about that, and I don't have to reminisce about this over here. I can play in the present moment and create and be in the present moment. So I think that's it in a nutshell of what I wanted to share and what's been coming up for me recently about time management, what I should be doing in the present moment, and really listening to those voices, the condescending voice. Just, it sounds kind of weird, but just listen to the tone of it. Because even in your head, when there's nothing audio that you're hearing, you can hear, and there's tone. And listen to the tone of the voice, and what is it saying? And listen to or feel it too, feel the voice. And that will help to decipher whether or not that is old programming, beliefs that you picked up that aren't serving you, or if it's your true self, God, spirit, angels, whatever, guiding you and supporting you to get up and move and shift and do this, So it should have more of a soft, supportive, and sometimes assertive. And assertiveness is different from reaction and anger. They're completely different. Assertive is just like wake up, more so than condescending and putting you down. So wanted to share that with you, and I know we've all got it. We all have the voices. Some of us have more than others, but it's important to listen to your mind and what it's telling you, and you get to decide whether or not you want to buy into it or not, or if it's the right thing to do. Just because you hear these voices and or guidance or whatever telling you things, then you get to decide, okay, I'm observing, I hear this and that. What do I want to do about it? Do I feel like doing that? Or should I sit back and just contemplate for a minute? No emergency. So want to share that with you. Hope all is well with you all, and thanks for watching. Leave your comments and please share with me. Let's have a back and forth and share this together, this process together, and let the thoughts come out of our mind, and hear from you and what's going on in your head. or if you have questions about how to work with the mind and these voices and these feelings and being bogged down or whatever, how to decipher. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And till next time, blessings to you.